to another video about bows. And this time I think the topic is quite interesting. It's about how to distinguish a Tatar bow from a Chinese bow. And there's more because the Korean bow is there as well. So I would like to show the historical development and the differences between the Tatar, the Ming bows and the Korean bows. But before we start, I would like to show you the equipment I will use today, because now I changed view. Just recently Armin has reviewed the lantern ring, and I thought this is a very nice and interesting shape. And since I'm a fan of shallow rings, this is a good idea. And I ordered the first one, and it turns out to be too small, and ordered two other ones with slightly different sizes. And actually this one fits best in the moment. I think in winter times the next one will fit very well. But usually I have just attached one band, a leather stripe or whatsoever, secure then the width here for my wrist. And so you need a lot of bands. And since I learn how to fly kites, there is a method to attach the lines to the kite. And this is a special knot that can be opened very easily. So you have only now, or I have only now, these very small bands. So this is a thread to hand sew leather. It's 0.8 millimeters thick or so. And here I have oiled leather stripe that can be closed like this. So easy. And here we have two holes. And I have braided 3 of these threads. So it's a bit thicker. And this is so that you can, or I can release it easily. So this is the typical loop. And you go here with the 2 fingers, do this, and you have this loop. And now you can attach, and then now it's important and crucial that there is a dig knot in the end. So this one is a bit oversized maybe, but it's easy. Then you tie it. And the more you tighten it, the closer the loop gets, or the knot gets. So it's more secure with more tension. Yeah, and so you get closer to here. Now you can, and this is the reason why it's then thicker. Open it here and remove the one and can attach another one. For example, here the Korean male ring. You see the point, easy. And then you have one band or one stripe where you can attach all the rings to. So I just wanted to show you this up front before we start. Okay, and now before my preparation for this video was relatively intense. I have read a lot about the Tatars and the Ming, and regarding the Ming bows, I have contacted Haydn Fu, who was very helpful and explained to me a lot, and you will later hear something what he has provided to me as information, and about the Korean bows. To summarize it all, it's helpful to use ChatGPT. If you use it, you need to know already, and this tool helps you to get a good summary, but sometimes it produces not the full truth, or maybe it's even false. So if you produce pictures by ChatGPT, it doesn't work, so this is not correct. But the words seem very reasonable. And so I'll read now something to you. It's quite a lot, but I will try to do this in small bits so that it doesn't get too boring. I hope so, at least. Okay, let's start. This is a video about bows around 1500 AD. And there are several bows, so the list is not complete. We start Mongolian bow. So this is a relatively short bow. I have here a representative of a Mongolian bow. You know, the Kashik, this is one Mongolian bow, and this one is a Nöcker. Relatively short, between 110 and 130 centimeters, with pronounced recurve ends. So Sias here. Descended from earlier Turk-Mongol steppe designs, optimized for horse archery. Remained almost unchanged until the 16th century, influenced Russia, Persia, and even the Ottoman Empire. Key trait, it's extremely efficient energy transfer in a short frame, but very sensitive to moisture. No issue on the dry steppes. Of course not the laminated bow, but during these times we talk about composite bows. And the composite bows had glue that was fish glue or something, and this was sensitive to humidity and moisture, to rain. This is why they kept it usually dry, have covered it, and so on. Then there was the Ottoman bow. I don't show it here now, so you know the Ottoman bow or Turkish bow. So I skip this one. Then the Chinese bow and the Ming bows. During the Ming period, it was from 1368 to 1644, several types existed, usually larger composite bows between 120 and 140 centimeters. And now I would like to have the Kayuan bow that I do not have yet. So I will order this bow as soon as it works. But I have here the Sichai that is more or less close to the emperor bow because of the tip. I show you here in the frame. So this is an old sketch of a Ming bow, and I have seen this tip structure with bows called emperor's bow. With Ali bow you find it like this, and I think with a spearman as well. And same time we had the Xiaoshao as well, but only in 3 areas. I will name it later on. So this is more or less a rarity and not representative. Representative would be the Kayuan bow, and I can show you only pictures here from Ali bow, for example, as a whole. Then the tip design I show you from the spearman bow because the contrast from the Ali bow picture is not very good to show it. But the spearman bow has the same tip design. The Kayuan bow you can easily identify with this hook Sias. Okay, so we now know more about the Chinese Ming dynasty bows. Unlike the Ottoman bow, the Chinese version had straighter limbs with moderately curved Sias. So I use now the emperor bow to show it. Yeah, it's more curved than the Mongolian. The Kayuan bow has been used for infantry and cavalry, so it was the military bow of that time. At least the design comes close to this. Produced in state workshops with detailed military manuals. For example, the one from Wu Bai Si by Mao Yunai, 1621. To the Chinese people, I apologize for my pronunciation. I'm not trained in Chinese, so sorry about that. Then there is the Japanese Yumi bow in the same time. And of course, the Korean bow. At that time, it was more or less looking like the Joseon, written Joseon bow. So the Joseon bow may look probably like this one. So this is the fiberglass bow. And the Zias are massive and performance is not so nice, but for the shape, I think it gives you a good idea. So you see the handle shape is different to the KTB you know of today. But you can already see the more steep angle than the ones before. In comparison to the Emperor bow, yeah, you can see it here. Yeah, the curves are quite different. So it's similar from this point of view. But you see the completely different designs between the Emperor bow and the Joseon bow. Okay. The tips have later then developed, but this one is very similar looking to this old sketch we have here. And so I think this is a good representation of the Joseon design. And then later on, the typical KTB design has developed. But I cannot name precisely the date where the change or the time frame where the change has begun. So today we have the typical KTB that I show you in a bit. Then the Tatar bow. I have chosen for this video the rider because Rob has said this is more or less a replica of the historical bow in the Manchester Museum. If you search for the number Rob has mentioned, you find that there is no picture, only a description. And so I have found potentially a similar bow, picture of the bow from the London Museum that you can see here. And yeah, I think this is working as a reference. So the Tatar bow evolved from the Turco-Mongol composite tradition of the Golden Horde. So it's more or less an heir of the Mongol bow. And you see, maybe you took it. Right? Look at her hand. Yeah. Okay. Around 1500, the Crimean Tatar, so this is a Crimean Tatar bow, under Ottoman influence blended both cultural styles. There are a lot of Tatar groups, and if it comes to European history, they have not really distinguished between the tribes. Yeah, so everyone that was riding on a horse with bow and arrow and being furiously coming towards them, frightening the people that were living in a village or so, for them it was, they have come from hell. And this means, translated, the word Tatar for the Europeans. Of course, this is bullshit. Yeah, they haven't come from hell, of course. But yeah, this was the impression the former Europeans had, and this is where the name comes from. It's, I think, a Greek word that has been modified a bit. So sorry about that, but this is what can be found on Wikipedia. And so the Tatar people are spread. So a lot of Tatar tribes are living in the today's Russian area, but there are also Crimean Tatars. And these Crimean Tatars, they have been living closely to the Ottomans or Turkish people, and so they have some kind of influence themselves. So today I'm talking about Crimean Tatars. So used by mounted warriors, famed for their last raids and hit and run tactics. The region was Crimea, Black Sea steppe, southern Russia, western Ukraine, and Don region. So very much spread. And you have already seen in my Tatar comparison video that there are variations of the Tatar bow as well. And yeah, the length vary as well. So here I have a small table that I'll show you here. So you see the comparison between the Mongol, Ottoman, China, Yumi, the Gakung, Crimean, Tatar. The lengths vary from 105 centimeters for the Ottoman and the largest for the Yumi with more than 2 meters. So this is a very special one. The materials that have been used in the time around 1500 and the draw weights that had been found. Yeah, so of course a 5-year-old or 6-year-old doesn't start with 70 pounds, so there are always evolutions. Yeah, so of course they had 40 pounds, they had 30 pounds maybe, but this was more for training and for warriors. Yeah, for soldiers, they had military bows with stronger draw weights. You can see the distinctive trait. For Mongolian was most compact stepper bow, mounted use. For the Ottoman, it was an elite weapon. For the Ming, standardized Ming bow, the Kayuan. The Yumi, asymmetrical non-horn composite, so it was a bamboo bow. Because you won't find such long horns, but there's a lot of bamboo growing up to a few meters. The Korean Gakung, small, very efficient, and the Tatars, transitional form with long zias. In this comparison, it doesn't seem to be that long, but longer as the Ottoman bow. So it's a comparison to this one. So as a summary, by 1500, Asia was the center of bow innovation. Geographic and cultural conditions led to remarkable diversity. The steppe regions, short reflex composite bows for mounted archers. China, standardized mass production for armies, along other variants like, and now it comes. In Henan, we had the Shenzhou bow. In Beijing, we had the Dashao, that is the predecessor of the well-known Manchu bow. The Kaoba, Xiaoxiao, that I have shown you here, this one. Nanjing and Jiangsu, that was the region I didn't mention before, Jiangsu. There was the Xiaoxiao used, short and narrow face. And in Japan, culturally distinct asymmetrical longbow. And in Korea, the small, highly efficient composite bow. So this is the overview of the bows I have here today. And I would now like to go more into details for each of this. I will start with the Korean bow, then continue with the Ming bow, and last but not least, the Tatar bow. So I go from east to west. Okay, let's start.